Hare Krishna, so welcome everybody. Srila Prabhupadas will just announce the topic of today. Just wanted to let you know we're on live from Mayapur TV and also just from Desire Tree. So everything that you say can and will be used for your benefit. And there's water here, there's restrooms outside on the corridor. I think the plan is to go from 10:30 to 1:30 and 3:30 to 6:40, around something like that. So she wants to introduce the topic and the speakers.
Hare Krishna. So we'd like to welcome everyone to this very, very important Hare Krishna seminar entitled Enhancing the Culture of Reading Srila Prabhupadas Books. Books are the basics. Our survival as an organization is based on books. Books are the basics. Our practice of Krishna consciousness, knowledge, is based on Srila Prabhupada's books. Our practice of Krishna, and to go back to the spiritual world, to go to the association of Krishna, we need to know where is Krishna, where is his abode, what are we doing in his abode, how can we get there? All these are based on reading Prabhupada's books. What are we doing in his abode? It is said that knowledge is useful for one on a journey. It is said that knowledge is a friend of a person who is on a journey, because that knowledge will guide him. And that is why it is very, very important, very, very important for us to gain knowledge by studying Srila Prabhupada's books. So for us, this seminar is meant for facilitating the reading of Srila Prabhupada's books. And the Minister of Education, ISKCON Minister of Education, is so keen, is so interested in seeing the members of the Hare Krishna movement, devotees of the Hare Krishna movement, are absorbed in reading Srila Prabhupada's books, because these books are the basis of our spiritual life. And that is why we are gathered here. So, I would like to introduce Mr. Guru. So, he's doing a very humble service. But he's actually the executive director of ISKCON Ministry of Education. He's doing a very humble service. He actually inspired this project. I'm simply serving as a global duty officer under him. He actually inspired this project. And for our speakers today, we have Naveen Guru, a very, very versatile devotee in many fields. He has one time been our Minister of Book Distribution. And he still continues to be in the Ministry of Book Distribution for every year. He's organizing seminars to inspire devotees to execute this very, very important mission here. So he's going to be our first speaker, because books are very dear to his heart. He wants to see books distributed, but not only for the distribution, but the books should be read. The cycle of writing literature is not complete until the book is read. Yes, it's a cycle. Writing literature. Somebody writes a book, somebody distributes the book, and somebody reads the book. So until the book is read, the cycle is writing. So somebody distribute the book. So we are very happy today to have to deliver on the subject matter. So we are very happy at our basis. And what is the link between reading and distributing Srila Prabhupadas books? We also have his great student link between reading. He's also a very versatile devotee. He's organizing this Bhagavatam Vidyalaya in Vrindavan as the school. He's teaching Bhagavatam. He's traveling the whole world teaching Bhagavatam. He's going to be speaking in the afternoon. Then we have His Holiness Bhakti Vasudev Maharaj. He's also a very, very versatile personality in Srila Prabhupada's books. And his mom is speaking also in the afternoon. For everybody, will open the floor for this topic. And thereafter, I will also present something supported by my director. And then we close for the morning. In the afternoon, we have Bhakti Vasudev Maharaj and Vaishnava Prabhu. As the program goes, we have Bhakti Vasudev Maharaj and Vaishnava Prabhu. As first, we like to have an introduction of all the participants because we want to know who we're talking with, who we're dealing with. At least your name, where you come from, what is the service, what's another idea, and then after that, then we shall ask our speaker what's another idea, begin this. And then, so first, after that,
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for that. I'm coming from ISKCON, Mayapur, happy to be here, gaining more inspiration.
And where you come from?
Hare Krishna, this is Nirmay Nityananda Das. I'm from ISKCON Mayapur, Maharashtra. So here right now, I'm completing the University program. I'm the Raja and I'm from ISKCON Mayapur, Maharashtra. So here is Vishwabhada, what is the base of it?
Hare Krishna, I'm Varit. I'm from Chennai, Mayapur itself, and I'm serving in Mayapur Institute.
Hare Krishna, I'm Arun from Chennai. So I can
And I'm serving in Mayapur Institute.
Hare Krishna, my name is Srila Das, and I'm staying in Mayapur, mainly studying the books. Hare Krishna, my name is Srila Das, I'm teaching something in French and in Mayapur, mainly studying.
My name is Vishnu. I came from Louisville, Portugal, and I work in the field with the times
Everybody is at the International Education Symposium. It's a professor. It's a professor from Lisbon. Thank you for coming. Everybody is at the International
Das,
It's a professor from Lisbon.
Hare Krishna, my name is Sachin Das. I'm from Chile, I'm residing in Manila, and I serve at the British Heights. Hare Krishna, my name is
Krishna Das, from Finland, voice teaching, Krishna Das, from Finland, voice teaching.
Hare Krishna, my name is Prabhupadas. I'm from Argentina. Book distribution, I am publication, Prabhupadas from Argentina. Book distribution, I am publication, Prabhupadas from
Sir, my name is Dmitry. I'm from Belarus. Now traveling to Russia. I'm speaking. Sir, my name is Dmitry. I'm from
I'm from Mayapur. I'm doing service in the Vaishnava designer and also something doing books. I'm young. I like to read books. I'm from Mayapur.
Next. You said you're a web designer? Internet designer?
No, I'm
Press.
Okay. My voice is loud. Something's happening to the roof.
Actually, the room is small, so we can raise our voice for all.
So, I want to introduce Srila Prabhupadas, the Executive Director of ISKCON, Minister of Education Law. They don't speak English. Srila Prabhupadas, the Executive Director of ISKCON, introduce them. Minister of Education Law. They don't speak English. So we're just waiting for people to come and fix the question. But while we wait, I will just share a little story. While we wait, this morning I ran into one devotee and we're discussing this program. A little story. Reading Srila Prabhupadas books. So I said, Prabhu, this morning I ran into one devotee. Can you give us some idea how we can increase? I'm just trying to boil away the time. So once you are here, please take. Can you give us an idea how we can increase? So we have Srila Prabhu. He's our first speaker. He's a very, very versatile devotee as far as book distribution is concerned, and as far as selling books or properties are concerned. He just graduated as a Bhakti Director. So, as far as selling books or properties are concerned, he just graduated as a Bhakti Director.
Hare Krishna, dear friends, colleagues, thank you Srila Prabhupadas for organizing this event. There's a saying that use it or lose it. If you don't use something, you're going to lose it. Have you experienced that? We acquire a few things in life. If we did not care to actually use them, we will lose them. Either because we disregard them, neglect them, misplace them, or simply they will be taken away by the course of time. Either because I don't think that the importance of reading Prabhupada's books is necessarily under or overestimated, emphasized in our movement. I think it is rather a question of what it is called here, enhancing the culture. A culture means different things. You can cultivate a field, agriculture, you can cultivate something. So you have to have a fertile soil to sprout the seed. You have to protect it, nourish it, so that it brings fruit. So that can be culture. Culture is also a way of how to preserve tradition, art, the wealth of a certain section or class of society. It's not culture. So what culture do we want to establish? Do we want to further? Do we want to propitiate in our society for Krishna consciousness? These are fundamental basic questions, but they're important questions nonetheless, because if we neglect the fundamentals, often we get lost in the details. You have paper and pen, you can take notes if you like. You can take anything and prove anything with it. Am I right, Professor? You can take anything out of context and prove anything with it, according to your motive and your intention. So the question should really be, what is our motive? What is our intention in this Krishna consciousness movement? I think Srila Prabhupada defined it very succinctly in the 7 verses of ISKCON, that to bring society together at large in order to establish the principles of Krishna consciousness and to share them as one and all. And for that, the publishing and distribution of these books would fulfill all these different purposes, these 7 purposes. So, just as a little mind map, we're going to speak today about culture. So, but you don't really start off with culture. What you start off with is practice. So everything starts with practice. But you don't really start off with culture. What you start off with is practice. So everything starts with practice really means Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, which means every day or all the time. From practice, develop habit, which means every day. From habit, character is formed. And if you have a lot of people with character, then you can actually develop culture. So this is the sequence how things move, not the other way around. So what are our daily practices? I have done studies, I've been around the world more than 15 times, and these are breaking news, shocking news. Less than 10% of our members have all the books, and less than 10% have read all the books. This is shocking news. If you would tell Prabhupada that only 10% of our people have actually read the books, and only 10% actually have them in their homes, this is shocking news. I don't think Prabhupada would be very pleased. I don't think Prabhupada would be happy with that, or leave it at that. He would say, this is wrong. What can we do to change this? It is beyond the scope of a small presentation, but I just give you a few pointers, a few ideas, and say, this is wrong. What can we do? There is no meaning to food if there is no hunger. It is beyond the scope of how long can you go on without food? For those of you who are mechanical engineers, how long can you run a car without oil or petrol? Can you go on and simply go for it? Not too far, right? Like without petrol, okay, you could say there's a little bit in there, but if there is no oil in the engine, the engine will blow up. Without petrol, okay. So by reading Prabhupada's books, what we really do is, if there is no oil in the engine, we're taking our subsistence, our food, through oral reception, Guru Karnadharai. By hearing from the spiritual master, we're actually taking our spiritual nourishment, our spiritual food, without which we cannot sustain life. Another example, if you're an astronaut and you're going out from your capsule, you're connected to that space capsule by your wires, your tubes. If they're cut, you simply float off into outer space without any hope for salvation. So in a similar way, if we're not connected through the lifeline of Prabhupada's books, we'll float off into outer space. And we have seen a lot of people float off on different tangents. Now, practice really becomes important if you have a real need, just like in my service of training preachers and book distributors. You can't give something that you don't have. It's a simple law of physics. If you don't have it, you can't give it. And people take one look at you, and they look at you very clearly, because people don't hear so well these days, but they look very closely. So they will look at you, and they will decide in a few moments, do you have it or not? Like you go out to the shops, to the vendors, and your question on your mind is, do you have my stuff? Do you have my goods? Do you have my food? Can you deliver? That is the bottom line. So unless we daily practice and we actually imbibe the teachings of Prabhupada's books by studying them, will only do lip service. When the book distributors met Srila Prabhupada in San Francisco, he told them, don't just distribute my books, also read them. I've written these books for you to read. Otherwise you go up to people and you tell them, buy this book. And they say, what's in it? I don't know. My spiritual teacher has written his books for you to read and for me to sell. It will not be very convincing. So why only 10% have read our books? We can give so many reasons, we can give so many excuses. Bottom line, it's a lack of taste. Again, taste is something that has to be cultivated through daily practice. Just like, did you know if you read one verse a day, you can finish the Bhagavad Gita in 2 years? Some people look at a book and they say, wow, 1,000-page book. I'm never going to read this. You ask them, can you read one verse a day? They say yes. Everybody will agree, right? One verse a day. Can you do that?
Yes, yes.
Please say yes.
Yes.
Thank you for working with me. So, in 2 years you complete the Gita. Do you know that the average American only reads 2 books in a year? And I don't want to mention what kind of books they read, but 2 books in a year. So, if you read one verse a day, the Bhagavatam will take you 46 years. Most of you can still do it, okay? One verse a day, you can finish the Bhagavatam. I meet devotees all the time who are in the movement for decades and they have not read the Bhagavatam. It's scary. It's scary. There is an app, it's called Be a Sage. It's free. Be a Sage. And you can see how long it will take you to finish a certain book of Prabhupada. Be a Sage. You can download it for iPhone or Android, and you can see how long it will take you to finish your book. In this way, you have a plan. You have a very clear idea where you're going. This is all part of practice. Now again, many of you will say, well, I just don't have the time. Has your mind ever told you that? I just don't have the time. I have a very simple trick for you. You take your alarm clock and you set it 1 hour earlier. And here is your extra hour for reading Prabhupada's books. This morning I read how Kardama, after giving Devahudi 9 daughters, was about to head out to the forest. And she was happy because she had experienced everything that there was to be experienced in this world materially, but she was unhappy because she had such a qualified husband and she had not gotten the greatest gift of liberation, of fearlessness. So she made a request that he please give her that, and then Kapila Muni arrived and he started instructing his mother in the process of devotional service. So I read this morning before Mangalarti. If you want to have vivid memories, read before the day gets too busy. That's the best time, between 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning, before things get too busy. So you can write down, get up early. Prabhupada sacrificed his sleep to give us these books. Every night, for many hours, he was translating. Another habit of practice is you read a chapter of Bhagavatam every day. In this way, you actually get an idea of the sequence, the chronology of the Bhagavatam, how things flow, the stories, the teachings. It actually starts making sense. Otherwise, if you just read a few minutes here, a few minutes there, a few minutes there, it's really hard to get the flow of it. So try to read 1 chapter of Bhagavatam a day. It really makes a difference. Now I know some of you will say, this sounds horrendous, this sounds drastic, this sounds way above my scope. So there's another program, it's chat. It's you read 1 chapter of Bhagavad Gita a day. Either the verses and the translations, or just the verses, or the purports. It takes you anywhere from a few minutes up to 15, 20 minutes. How many of you are chanting a chapter of Bhagavad Gita a day? There's about 4 or 5. We have here a credit card. It's a chat credit card. It's honored in most of the shops here in Mayapur and in major malls around the world. You can buy cars and airplanes with it. So I have these credit cards, and we will issue them to you for those of you ready to take up this. Chant one chapter of Bhagavad Gita a day. Try to see how it makes a difference in your life. And this is a challenge. You know, like in sports, they give you the 21 or the 30-day challenge, and they say, if you can break it and establish a habit by doing something for 21 or 30 days, you can actually create that habit and enforce it and implement it. So if you want to go from practice to habit, you have to make it a regular routine. Not once in a blue moon, not when you've got nothing better to do, but when you're actually focused, you will do something on a daily basis. So then habit will gradually develop into character, because it just becomes of who you are. It just becomes of who you are, what you do, what you imbibe. Have you ever had the experience that you heard some Monday news, or you were in some association, you picked up some information, and you just started repeating it without questioning it? Has this ever happened to you? Or is it just me? Thanks for your honesty. Whatever association we are in, that will rub off on us. Whatever information we expose ourselves to, that will influence the way how we move in the world and the way how we communicate and what we actually transmit. So everything ends in the heart. I live in the Bay Area of San Francisco. There's a sign which says, "Don't dump drains in the bay." So you should put signs on your ears. You can issue a new set of earrings, and it says, "Don't dump drains in the heart." Whatever enters your ears, it will drain in your heart. You may think this is just a news flash, this is just a movie, this is just a song, this is just some Monday little conversation, a little bit of trivia, a little bit of chat. Everything ends up in your heart. And then when it comes time for you to deliver, to speak, when you have that moment of truth, when you're in front of that person who looks at you and goes like, "Do you have something for me? Do you have something meaningful? Do you have something that will change my life?" And we open our mouth, and all comes out is Fox News or CNN or whatever you've been, Hollywood or Bollywood, whatever you've been absorbing. Even what you say may be Krishna consciousness, but the vibration around it will be mundane. It will be mixed. So don't do that to yourself. Try to cut out the fluff. Cut out the stuff that just distort, divert, and give that, that frequency that is really not tasteful. How to create this and how to sustain this. There's a few simple ways that I'd like to present before I open up for questions. I mentioned the app, I mentioned chat, the chapter a day, Bhagavatam or Gita. I'd like to mention reading circles. It says that it's good to study in pairs. Chanakya says you should study in pairs, you should travel in threes. So find a study partner, somebody who is of like-minded disposition, of a similar svabhav, and you can share your ideas. You can also have Skype conferences where daily you read Prabhupada's books for an hour. I just finished the Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupadas mentioned here in our course. And I thought, oh, let me take a little break and do a few things before I get started again. But then my friend Tara, he called me up on Skype and he says, "We're having this reading sessions. And you want to join in?" And I say, "Yeah, sure, of course. Right, your first canto." Okay, so we started. And now I'm almost through third canto. And it's just in a matter of a couple of months, 2 months. Because the Bhagavatam is highly addictive. I know some of you have phone conferences with which people can call in and they are studying together. But there's so many new ways of media. You can also meet in somebody's home if you're not too far away from each other. And in this way you make it a daily affair. You make it a daily affair. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Especially those who do not live in a temple and do not have a daily Bhagavatam class. Make it a daily affair to study Prabhupada's books in the association of like-minded devotees. Now there is just reading, where you just read and relish. Then there's also study, where you go deeper into certain subjects. When you go through the verse of the purport, there's always certain words that jump at you. Have you noticed? When you read the books, there's certain words that kind of jump at you. They kind of like, hey, hello, I'm here, you know? Like Vishrambena and Gauravena. These two words, what do they mean? It's Vishrambena and Gauravena. The two qualities that we should have, which are explained in the relationship between Devahudi and Karamamuni. How the disciple should be towards the spiritual master. He should serve in a friendly way, with great intimacy, but he should keep his respect and appreciation. So that is the proper attitude for a student. To be friendly, to be familiar, but still to keep respect, not to take for granted. So these words will come jumping at you. Then write them down. You all have pen and paper. Srila Prabhupada said to remember means to write it down. To remember means to write it down. Somebody who's serious, you'll always see them taking notes. Now you may think, oh, there's so many devotees in Mayapur, there's 10,000 people in Parikrama, there's 100 getting initiated over there, there's people jumping up and down here, there's people already going for lunch. Why am I sitting here listening to this guy jumping up and down here? Because the pen is mightier than the sword, and also mightier than the spoon. Because it is the pen that draws up ideas, and ideas change the world. Communism was spread through distribution of literature. So, Christianity was spread through the distribution of literature. Krishna consciousness is spread through the distribution of literature. The pen is mightier than the sword. So if we learn how to use the pen efficiently, you can change the world. You may say Prabhupada was one short, small man, sitting in Vrindavan in his room, just minding his own business for 8 years. But his pen changed the world. Now, why are these 10,000 people out of Parikrama? Where did they come from, these 10,000 people? They came from Prabhupada's pen. That's where these people came from. So if you want to create a revolution, you learn how to work on your pen. And that means, as one writer once said, I spend my entire morning putting one comma, and I spend my entire afternoon, again, taking that comma away. That's editing. It's a big job. So, you may wonder, how can I have impact? I'm just a little person. How can I impact the world? Very simple. By first of all associating with Prabhupada's teachings daily and allowing these teachings to impact our own life, and then by sharing them with whoever and however many people that we associate with, by imbibing the qualities and the culture that is being described in these books. Now there are obstacles, there are distractions, there's a lot of random moving objects in the world, there's 8 billion people. Most of them are not complying with our desires. Have you ever experienced that? Like at night when you try to go to sleep and some people have other plans, like they want to, do other things. So, but then you read, Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsak Shanti Arjuvam, and you're like, okay, maybe I should try to practice this tolerance business and without false ego and humility. Maybe that's something I should try to apply now. It looks great on paper, but what does it mean in my life? So people are not looking for information, people are looking for transformation. There's enough information out there in cyberspace. There's terabytes of information. People want realization. They want to know, what does this mean for you? And that's where application comes into place. It's not enough to memorize. We're not having our conferences and our educational system, excuse me if I'm wrong, to just train people how to put more information into their hard drives and then to spit it out. But we're trying to train people how to apply this wisdom, this information, and to acquire realization that they'll be able to share with others in a compassionate way, according to time, place, and circumstance. Just to give you an idea how reading the books is not sufficient. I joined in the early 80s. It was still the zonal acharya system. For those of you who came late, certain people thought they own a certain geographical area and everybody has to be their student in that area. We thought that the Vyasa-san is the seat of a certain teacher who manages that zone. We did not understand that Vyasa-san is the asana of Vyas, or the one who represents Vyas. So we thought whenever somebody gives a class other than our zonal acharya, he has to sit on a different seat, because he cannot sit on that seat. Even if other gurus, sannyasis, or other zonal acharyas come, they have to sit on a different seat, because they cannot sit on that seat. We were reading the books, but we were not imbibing the culture. We did not know the nuances. We did not know all these subtleties, the finesse of how to apply it. Why? Because there was no dialogue, there was no checks and balances, there was no culture of, we call it, that people are allowed to disagree. That has to be there. That is what Brahmins do. Like, we all different. We all from different backgrounds, from different cultures. We have different styles, different likings and dislikings. But we're here. And so far it's going okay. Right? And we should foster this culture of dialogue. Srila Prabhupada said, every year the leaders should come to Mayapur to discuss unity and diversity. So there will be always diversity, also in studying Prabhupada's books. And we have conservatives, we have hardliners, we have liberals, we have moderates, and all these flavors and colors of the rainbow are perfectly permissible, as long as they're within the umbrella of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and they're meant to further the greater good. Before I open up for questions, I have one or two more points that I wanted to make and share with you. We're really on a treasure hunt here. When I read Prabhupada's books, I feel like I'm on a treasure hunt and I'm mining for gems. I'm just looking for gems. I'm just looking for all these nuggets, all these memorable, precious stories, anecdotes, analogies, words, sayings, not just so I can use them, but just things that touch me, things that are meaningful to me. So, there's different ways of reading. As I mentioned, we can just read through, or we can study deep. You can take notes, you can analyze, you can study purports of other acharyas. What really has inspired me is to hear the realizations of other devotees. So when you have a study circle, people can reflect on what they've read and what it means to them and how it applies in their own lives. Have you ever had a question and then you open a book somewhere and something just answered your question? Has this ever happened to you? Yes. Say yes, please. Yes. Thank you. So that is spiritual literature. It's meaningful. Why? Because it relates to me. There is meaning in it for me. So to have daily communion with Prabhupada really means that we daily study Prabhupada's books with an open mind. We do not have, I asked you about your motivation initially, we do not have a preset idea of what I want to get out of this. We just read the book and we just try to absorb what is the author trying to tell me. What is his mood? What is he trying to convey here? Instead of, if the noise in my head is too loud and I have already too much going on, has it ever happened to you? You read a paragraph and after the paragraph you paused and you thought, what did I just read? And you couldn't remember. Has this ever happened to you? Or is it just me? Why? Because the noise was too loud. There was too much of my own ideas, my own motivation, my own projection happening. So to be like a blank slate means I really take myself back and I just want to hear and absorb. These books are Prabhupada's devotional ecstasies. Prabhupada said, the best of myself I put in these books. You study me through my books. We know that Vani Seva, the service to the instruction of the Guru, is eternal. The physical form is limited. It's only according to time, place, appreciable. But the instructions of Prabhupada in his books are eternal. They're always available, at least for the next 10,000 years. We're very fortunate to have these books in so many languages across the world. For now, we have distributed about 520 million of Prabhupada's books in the last 50 plus years. That's to the tune of 10 million books a year. It's something, but actually it's a drop in the bucket. In the last Bhadra Purnima, 8,000 Bhagavatam sets got distributed. It's a good start. But in comparison to the millions of members that we have, people who think, I'm a member of ISKCON, I follow Prabhupada, I like Krishna, I'm a part of the Hare Krishna movement, it is a drop in the bucket. If we share this and we make it a culture that if you're a Hare Krishna, you have a set of Prabhupada's books at your home. Any preacher, I will not go to anyone's home unless they have a full set of Prabhupada's books. I may go there to bring them a set of books, and if the people say, I don't have any space, then that's wonderful. Then we say, okay, let me look at your library. Okay, we'll take out the TV, or we take out all these other mundane things, and you put Prabhupada's books there. It's a blissful experience. You know, you install the books. It's like installing a deity. And now this year, in Pune, Radheshyam Prabhu, my dear friend, I've asked him, you're number one in education and in recruiting, why don't you, now that you've built your new temple, get more into book distribution? And he said, yes. And he's going to people's homes and installing Bhagavatam sets in so many people's homes. And it's becoming like a craze. Everybody wants to have it. Everybody wants to have that. So I'm talking to you as leaders, as educators. If you're looking for ways how to have more impact, speak about the Bhagavatam, study the Bhagavatam, bring the Bhagavatam to other people's home, inspire them to read it and to study it, establish study courses, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Bhav, Bhakti Vedanta, guide people, answer their questions, and you will see how you can feel the weight of these teachings, of this Bhagavatam, all around. Our appetite for distributing Bhagavatam will increase the more we appreciate it. Because the more we like something, the more we like to share it. You like to share your favorite food. You like to share your favorite song. Why? Because it's dear to your heart. It's something that you feel strongly about. So, I like the Bhagavatam. So I like to share it. I like to distribute it in all its different manifestations. If we do not apply this knowledge, we'll not only lose it, but it will cause us mental indigestion, constipation. We have seen how people who simply crammed more and more information in their heads, they simply got more and more bewildered and confused. Because they could not process and they could not actually put things in the right place. So application means devotional service, especially sharing. Prabhupada wanted us to share this knowledge with others. He wanted us to give these books to others. In this way, when you go out and you start distributing the information, you start sharing your realizations, your own appetite, your own need will increase. And then your own ability to speak and to deliver will increase. And in this way, it's an ever-increasing competition. And the two, they feed off of each other. I'd like to share my favorite verse before I close that I just read in the section where Krishna comes after Brahma performs his austerities for creative empowerment, and Krishna comes and shakes his hand and he tells Brahma, don't be depressed and don't be anxious. Whatever you have been praying for has already been granted so many times. Have you ever been depressed or anxious? Thank you for your honesty. Whatever you're being praying for has already been granted so many times. That's just one shloka out of 18,000 shlokas. You just engrave that on your mirror of your mind. And whenever your mind starts freaking out and going, ah, does your mind ever freak out? No, you look very calm. But sometimes it does happen that the mind freaks out. Then you just pull out that shloka and say, what about that? You know? Brahma had to create all the life forms, all the species, all the planets. That's a crazy big job. Brahma was frightened. He was anxious. He was depressed. He didn't know where to go, what to do. But Krishna told him, don't worry, I got you covered. Whatever you want to do, it's been done many times before. Just follow the process, have faith, and everything will be fine. Another favorite shloka is Yatritnyante Katamrishtas Krishna Yokashmoyata Nirvairam Yatra Bhuteshu Nodvego Yatra Kaschana. That whenever and wherever the Bhagavatam is being studied, what happens? There's no more envy. Envy gets eradicated. All these unwanted qualities, they become absent. At least for the time while the Bhagavatam is being discussed. So this gives you a window of opportunity. This gives you a ceasefire, a peace of mind phase every day where you know, I'll be okay. I don't have to worry. I don't have to feel depressed or anxious. I don't have to feel envious or feel that anyone is envious of me because I'm studying the Bhagavatam. And that blessing is there. It's given. It's money in the bank. Try it out. Please try it out for yourself. See what it means to you and how you can share it with others. If it doesn't work, money back guarantee from this seminar. So, we would like you to share some of these ideas with your friends, but charity starts at home. Apply it first, because then you will speak from realization. And people will not just want to know, oh, where did you hear that? But they'll go like, wow. Like I distribute books, and I tell people simple stuff. Like we're not humans having a spiritual experience, we're spirits having a human experience. And they go, wow, wow. Did you just make that up? And I say, yeah, sure, of course. I just throw this stuff out of my elbow, you know? No, that's all just here from this book. Take it, read it. You can find out for yourselves. It's the simple things that make a big difference. So remember, Prabhupada said in Vrindavan Radha Damodar, from his pen came all these devotees, came all these temples, came this whole revolution. If you want to be part of the revolution, study Prabhupada's books every day and share them with others. We take a couple of questions or reflections, and then our second speaker for this morning will sum up. Yes?
The hunger, how to keep the hunger.
How to keep the hunger.
After reading for 10 times all the books.
Lord Chaitanya heard the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj for hundreds of times because he was so interested in their pastimes. If we see the benefit and we actually have a taste for something, like if I tell you, you know, there is, what's your favorite food? Something that you can't eat. Pizza, okay. There's very nice pizza. Do you have hunger for that? Always, right? Even if you're not hungry, you have hunger for that. Because why? There is taste, there is appreciation, there's meaning to it. So once there is taste and appreciation, the hunger is automatic. It's not a theoretical thing. Oh, I have to read now. Initially, it will be a little bit mechanical. I started Krishna consciousness when I was 15. The books were a little high, the language was a little complex. The devotees told me, just read out loud. Have you ever done that? You read out loud? Yes. And you think initially, why should I read out loud? You know, I know how to read. Why should I read out loud? Why not just quiet? Because the sound vibration is very powerful, it's very potent. And it enters into your ears. And the ears are like the sky. They're unlimited. They can absorb so much sound. When you learn how to read on a regular basis and you read out loud, after a while things start making sense. And what doesn't make sense right it down and ask somebody who knows. Okay? And in this way, taste develops. Thank you. Got microphones here.
Well, thank you so much for your talk this morning. I wanted to just request you to share your experience with both chat and the app, specifically with chat. Can you share with us how the journey has been? When did the program start? How many devotees are participating in it now?
I didn't start the program, nor do I know how many people are participating. It's a subversive underground organization. So this is highly classified information. There are many secret members of chat out there. I know Prabhupada said that you should chant a chapter. It's a very good thing to do. Also, if there's offenses in deity worship, one should chant, a chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And it's possible to commit offenses in our practice of devotional service. So in this way, you can safeguard. It's been going on for a while. The app has been out since, I think, about a year. And it's helped devotees just to have a certain goal, because goals are potent. Once you have a goal, did you know if you read 41 pages of Bhagavatam in 1 year, you complete the Bhagavatam? Simple stuff like that. It does make a big difference.
Right. I understand and appreciate the concept very much. Thank you. Would you know how many similar programs like chat are going in the world of ISKCON or ISKCON community? Would you have some estimate?
There are many, and there has to be a sharing of best practices, and that's why we're here, and that's why we're hearing from different people from different parts of the globe, because Krishna is the ability in every individual, and people come up with these ingenious methods that really make a difference for them. For me personally, I set myself a task, which is whenever I'm not at the temple or not doing something that's life-sustaining, I want to be exposed to the transcendental sound vibration. If you would ever note down just for a week how much time you spend on the internet, on social media, on your electronics, you'd be shocked. Your mind would be blown away. If I tell people I read Prabhupada's books 2, 3, 4 hours a day, that's just normal, because I just don't do the other stuff. So you still have 24 hours. So these are simple personal practices. Always carry books with you. Now we have these e-readers and phones and tablets, so you can have a book with you wherever you are. Did you notice that there is so much time wasted just where nothing's happening? So just start reading at that point in time. And of course, when you start reading, some people will just get up and leave, some people will fall asleep. That's just part of life. But I remember when I was a new devotee, it was also hard for me to really feel that need, that urgency. But by my service of preaching and book distribution, my appetite grew stronger, my fire grew stronger, and I could sustain my concentration and my enthusiasm much longer. So it is a matter of practice, and the habit will eventually be formed. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
So let us give an applause to Prabhu for his wonderful presentation.
So we do have these cards here available. I put the stacks there on the table, and you can pick them up for those of you who are thinking of joining JAD or enlisting other members. They're available. I also have a small gift for my friend Srila Prabhupadas here. The pen is mightier than the sword.
So there will be some discussions after I make my presentation, and Papa Mr. Prabhu will also make a presentation. Then the rest of the time in the morning, we're going to discuss. Probably we may form some groups to discuss, or we may just do a class brainstorming, because we want to put all the ideas together so that we can distribute it across the world. If you read the title of our presentation, it says Enhance enhancing the culture of reading Srila Prabhupada's books globally. It's very important. Why do we need to read or study Srila Prabhupada's books? This is the question that we have to ask. Or this is the question we want to answer in this our meeting, in this our seminar. Why read or study Srila Prabhupada's books? As His Grace Navindra Prabhu said, reading means just to go through the purports, the translations and purports of Srila Prabhupada's books, and study means to actually go deeper. So there are two levels. The first level is to read, be acquainted with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. But you can go deeper by reading and taking notes and taking important interest in very important words. If you watch carefully, you will see that when Prabhupada writes his purports, he would take some words out of the main verse and he would elaborate, elucidate on those verses. That means those words are very, very important. They're the key words in that verse. So to study Srila Prabhupada's books means you go deeper into the meanings of those verses. And then you begin to see that the verses, they link from one verse to another. It's like a chain. And you will realize that the chapters, they are linked. And you realize that the cantos, they link. So that is the study. But if you just read, that's good. First step is to read. Then the second step is to study. So we are here to find out why we have to read Srila Prabhupada's books and why we have to study Srila Prabhupada's books. So, I'm sure all of us are acquainted with the 7 purposes of ISKCON. If you look at the 7 purposes of ISKCON, the first 3 highlights the importance of reading Srila Prabhupada's books. First, to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and to educate. The word educate is very important. To educate all people in society at large and to educate and in the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and to achieve real unity and peace in the world. That is the first purpose for establishing ISKCON, which is very important to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge. The world is devoid of spiritual knowledge. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada says that there is everything in abundance in this world except spiritual knowledge, except Krishna Bhakti, except Krishna consciousness. Everything is there in abundance. So therefore, this first purpose brings out the beauty of Krishna consciousness to systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and to educate all people in the techniques of spiritual life in order to share the imbalance of values in life and to achieve real unity and peace in the world. I think the United Nations, they should take a cue from this verse. If they really want to create unity in human society, in the world, then this should be their slogan. And they should take shelter of Srila Prabhupada's books and Srila Prabhupada's followers. Do you agree with me? Then the second point, to propagate the consciousness of Krishna or God as it is revealed in the great scriptures of India, Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. 3, to bring the members of society together with each other and nearer to Krishna, the prime entity, that's developing the idea within the members of humanity at large that each soul is part and parcel of the quality of Godhead, Krishna. So these are the first three purposes for establishing ISKCON. And we can see that they all relate to knowledge. They all relate to studying. They all relate to understanding and sharing that knowledge. And then in the last purpose, that Prabhupada identifies how to go about this. The seventh purpose says, with a view towards achieving the aforementioned purposes, to publish and distribute periodicals, magazines, books, and other writings. So you see that the first three purposes can be achieved. It can only be achieved by the last purpose. By publishing and distributing periodicals, magazines, books, and other writings. And we need to include reading them. Because sometimes the word is Prabhupada says we should only distribute. by this purpose, Prabhupada says distribute. So it means reading is eliminated. But actually the first business is to read. Because if you don't know, how can you give? If you don't have, how can you share? Prabhupada said that. If you don't have, you cannot give. Okay? So to have means to read, to imbibe, to nourish yourself. After nourishing yourself, after you've imbibed Krishna consciousness through studying Srila Prabhupada's books, then you'll be eager to distribute. So the books are meant to be read, the magazines are meant to be read, the periodicals are meant to be read, other writings are meant to be read by all members of the Hare Krishna movement. Because we are all supposed to be agents for Srila Prabhupada. And to be an agent, you must know what your master stands for. In fact, if you read the 6th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Yamaraj was chastising the Yamadutas. When the Yamadutas went to arrest Ajamil, and the Vishnudutas appeared there, because Yamaraj and Ajamil chanted Vishnu, Narayan, he chanted the Lord's name, which was incidentally his son's name. Actually, he was not chanting the name of Krishna. His intention was not to call the name of Krishna. He was just calling his son that was standing nearby. But then, it so happened that it was Krishna's name, it was Lord Narayan's name. And immediately Lord Narayan heard his name. He ordered his soldiers, his carriers, his agents, please go. Somebody is calling my name down there and save him. So the Vishnudutas appeared and drove away the Yamadutas. The Yamadutas were bewildered. This man is very, very sinful. This man is the embodiment of all sin. And he is supposed to be arrested by us. Away from these beautiful people who have stopped us. So they went to Yamaraj and they were complaining. That this is the first time in the execution of our services that we have been stopped. So we don't understand. And Yamaraj chastised him very heavily. He says, you are representing me, and therefore you must be in knowledge that anyone who calls the name of Lord Narayan, you have no right to touch him. So anyone who is acting on behalf of his master must know what the master stands for. So how can we understand Srila Prabhupada's Guna mission if we don't read his books? That is why it is important that every member of the Hare Krishna movement must study Srila Prabhupada's books meticulously, so that we can understand the Guna mission of Srila Prabhupada. Then we can represent him properly. So this project is a vision of the Ministry of Education, ISKCON Ministry of Education. All education in ISKCON should have its foundation in Srila Prabhupada's books. There shouldn't be any other book besides Srila Prabhupada's books because ISKCON belongs to Srila Prabhupada. It is his brainwork, it is his desire, it is his love. And therefore, all members of ISKCON, we must know Srila Prabhupada's books, and all forms of education must be based on Srila Prabhupada's books. Also, our leaders, SGGS, sannyasis, GDCs, gurus, every year, every 2 years, they meet. Like this year, they met in Mayapur. Every 2 years, they meet. And so, in their last meeting, even this year, it was spoken about. I was told that this year again it came up. In their last meeting, all the members of this SGGS, they were lamenting that many leaders are not even reading. Not only the devotees in general, but even leaders, they are not reading. We have statistics, and it's not very good. So, and that is why the Ministry of Education thinks it is very important for us to promote this project so that devotees will align with it. Devotees will pick it up and get involved and inspire others so that the reading can go on. And many issues, just by reading Srila Prabhupada's books, many of our doubts can be cleared. Just by studying Srila Prabhupada's books, many of our difficulties will be gone. Just by reading Srila Prabhupada's books, many of our confusion will be gone. Many issues will be gone. Actually, out of ignorance, out of that ignorance, there are a lot of problems. In the darkness, we grow in the darkness. To walk in the darkness is very difficult. But as soon as there's a little light, you can see your way. So Srila Prabhupada's books are the guidance, they're the guiding principle, they're the big beacon for every devotee in ISKCON. And that is why it's important for us to read Srila Prabhupada's books. So therefore, even our leaders, they are all saying that devotees need to nourish their taste for bhakti by constantly associating with Srila Prabhupada through the regular reading of his books. We have to regularly associate with Srila Prabhupada by constantly reading his books. The need for reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Yaya Samahito Jiva Atmanam Tri Gunam Makam Paropi Mante Nartanta Kritam Chabi Padyate. Due to this external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to the three modes of material nature, thinks of himself as a material product and thus undergoes the reactions of material miseries. Actually, we are transcendental personalities. Because Mama Ivanso Jiva Loge Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha, Krishna says that every living entity is part and parcel of me eternally. So if we are part and parcels of Krishna, then why are we going through all these tribulations, these miseries, these difficulties? Because we are simply identifying with the material body, which is always full of problems. The material body is nothing but a bag of problems. We are simply carrying a bag of problems from one place to another. And only this spiritual knowledge can free us from this problem. So therefore, we are all thinking we are products of material nature because of the body, but actually we are transcendental to material nature. And by studying the scriptures, by reading Srila Prabhupada's books, we can get to understand our real nature. And that will free us from the miseries of material enterprises. Srila Prabhupada's books, a wake-up call Maya Buddha Jivera Nahi Swata Krishna Dhyan. Jivere Kripaya Kaila Krishna Veda Purana. The conditioned soul cannot revive his Krishna consciousness by his own effort. But out of the costless mercy, Lord Krishna compiled the very literature and its supplement, the Puranas. The living entity cannot revive his own Krishna consciousness by his own effort. But out of the costless mercy, Lord Krishna compiled the very literature and its supplements, the Puranas, for the benefit of the living entity. Importance of very literatures. Thinking himself a product of material energy, the conditioned soul engages in the service of material energy in so many ways. It becomes a servant of lust, anger, greed, and envy. In this way, one totally becomes a servant of the illusory energy. Later, the bewildered soul becomes a servant of mental speculation, but in any case, he is simply covered by the illusory energy. Out of his costless mercy and compassion, Krishna has compiled various very literatures in his incarnation as Srila yesterday. And here's Srila yesterday. Anatopa Shamam Shakshat Bhakti Yogam Adoksade. Lokasya Yamato Vidyams Chakres Satvata Samhimtam. That the material miseries of the living entity, which are superfluous to him, can be directly mitigated by the linking process of devotional service. But the mass of people do not know this, and therefore the learned yesterday compiled this very literature, which is in relation to the Supreme Truth. This is the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 7th chapter, verse 6. The reason for Srila yesterday to write the very literature, to author the very literature, is to free the living entities from material miseries. And it's the same reason why Srila Prabhupada came. To translate the writings of Srila yesterday from the Sanskrit language into the English language, and then give the purpose. Spiritual education is very essential. The forgetful conditioned soul is educated by Krishna through very literatures, the realized spiritual master, and the super soul. Through these, he can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as he is. And he can understand that Lord Krishna is his eternal master and deliverer from the clutches of Maya. In this way, one can acquire real knowledge of his conditioned life and come to understand how to attain liberation. The need for Srila Prabhupada's descent. The very literatures give information about the living entity's eternal relationship with Krishna, which is called Sambandha. The living entity's understanding of this relationship and his acting accordingly is called Avideya. Returning home back to Godhead is the ultimate goal of life and is called Prayojana. But we cannot understand these things without reading Srila Prabhupada's books. So Prabhupada has come to explain all these things through his writings. Sambandha, Avideya, and Prayojana are fully explained in Srila Prabhupada's books. The effect of a drop. Men become strong and stout by eating sufficient grains. But a devotee who simply eats ordinary grain but does not taste the transcendental pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna gradually becomes weak and falls down from the transcendental position. However, if one drinks but a drop of the nectar of Krishna's pastimes, his body and mind begin to bloom, and he begins to laugh and sing and dance. This is in the purport of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 25, verse 278. That by taking a drop of Krishna consciousness, one begins to laugh, one begins to sing, one begins to dance. And that is what Prabhupada wants to give us, that drop of ecstasy. So Prabhupada wants all devotees connected with the Krishna consciousness movement must read all the books that have been translated. the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and others. Otherwise, after some time, they will simply eat, sleep, and fall down from their position. Thus, they will miss the opportunity to attain an eternal, blissful life of transcendental pleasure. This is very important, that if we don't read all the books that Srila Prabhupada has translated, very soon we shall fall down from our spiritual position only to eat and sleep. Please, Srila Prabhupada, I am pleased to hear that you are chanting 16 rounds daily and reading my books regularly and following the 4 rules. In my books, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is explained fully. So if there is anything which you do not understand, then you simply have to read again and again. By reading daily, the knowledge will be revealed to you. And by this process, your spiritual life will develop. Krishna consciousness is not a handmade thing, but it is something which is our natural and original consciousness. Presently, our consciousness is clouded just like a mirror because it's covered with dust. So the cleansing process is this chanting and hearing and doing some service and trying to please the spiritual master. By this process, our consciousness becomes clear and we are able to understand everything. Letter to Bahurupa, Bombay, 22nd November 1974. This is the letter Srila Prabhupada wrote to his disciple, Vaishnava Prabhu.
Srila Prabhu,
Yes.
7 more minutes.
Yes, could you
How many
please
more?
slow down?
7 more
This
minutes.
is way too fast.
I'm getting too fast. Oh, because of the time. Okay, I'm almost there.
Skip some more quotes and possibly move on to the application side.
Okay. I think, how many more?
You're only halfway. This is the 15th slide and you have 32.
This is 15.
This is number 15.
Yeah, I just skip. I just skip. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'd like to read this. Appreciating Srila Prabhupada. My daddy, a high school student in West Virginia, bore ample testimony to the efficacy of reading Srila Prabhupada's books. He has written a term paper for one of his high school classes based on the teachings contained in Chaitanya Charitamrita and only expressed his appreciation for Srila Prabhupada. And I quote, I have read most of your books on transcendental science. I've read most of your books on transcendental science and I've enjoyed them very much. No, I have not just enjoyed, but tried to base my life on their teachings. What you have written is so perfect because this knowledge has been passed down from the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. So this is a student in high school. He has read Srila Prabhupada's books and he's making this comment that just by reading your books, I've enjoyed them very much. And now I've based my whole life on the teachings of your books. So we can all apply this variously. I'm standing here today simply because of Srila Prabhupada's books. Yeah. If not because of Srila Prabhupada's books, I will not be here in Mayapur. I will not be in this dress. And I will not stand before all of you saying these things. It's only because I have taken the trouble of studying Srila Prabhupada's books, not so much, but gradually and gradually and gradually. And I can tell you, my life has changed so much. From what I used to do and what I am doing now is a big difference. And my schoolmates, they wonder what has changed this man. My classmates, they are in big positions. They are ministers. One of my juniors, the one who was just behind me, is the vice president of my country. He's the vice president of my country, and I visit him, and we talk. He says, I know you. You have completely changed. What has brought this change? I said, read Prabhupada's books. One of my classmates, direct classmates, is now the presidential candidate for 2020. He wants to become the president. And he comes to me for, Mr. Sylvester, please bless me. I can see that you are different from us. Please bless me so that I can become the head of state. I said, read Prabhupada's books. So I can tell you that I'm standing here, and whatever I'm made up of is simply because my Guru Maharaj inspired me to read Prabhupada's book, and I took it very seriously. I don't think I'm doing it very seriously, but the little energy I put into it, I can see the difference. So what about if I can go deeper, if I can read much more? It's wonderful. So this I testify to this back to my Dharmi. It's wonderful to read the Prabhupada's books. It's relishable. It transforms one's life. It makes you a different person altogether. And that is what we're looking for. You will go on to the next one. Yes. We have to increase Srila Prabhupada's consciousness. How can we better remember and cherish Srila Prabhupada's life teachings and personality? Step 1. Read Srila Prabhupada's books. That's the first step. Step 2. Read about Srila Prabhupada. Step 3. Hear lectures of Srila Prabhupada. Step 4. Hear narrations of Srila Prabhupada's pastimes. Step 5. Watch Srila Prabhupada's videos. And step 6. Do Guru Puja for Srila Prabhupada. Worship Srila Prabhupada. So these are the 6 steps, beginning with reading Srila Prabhupada's books. That will enhance our Prabhupada consciousness. Exhausted, beaten, worn from many lifetimes of unspoken elements, including the senses and mind, we should be eager to bring the message of Srila Prabhupada's books through the holes of our ears. Srila Prabhupada says, I am requesting all my students to read my books very seriously, every day without fail. In this way, if your mind becomes absorbed at least 1 or 2 hours daily in the transcendental subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and other books, then very easily you will make your advancement in Krishna consciousness. So if you want to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada has given us the formula. Read his book at least 2 hours a day on a regular basis, and you will make the necessary spiritual advancement. This is a letter to Srila Prabhupadas, June 13, 1972. Please, Srila Prabhupada, in my books, the philosophy of Krishna consciousness is explained fully. So if there is anything which you do not understand, then you should simply have to read again and again. By reading daily, the knowledge will be revealed to you. You may please me the most. So Prabhupada is saying here, you may please me the most by reading my books and following the instructions therein. So if you want to please the Prabhupada, what should we do? We should read his books. This is a letter to Prabhupada again, November 22nd, 1974. I will just go to the end. I know my time is gone. I will go to the bottom. Conclusion. If anybody wants a copy of this, if you have a pen drive, I'll give it to you. So you can go through the whole thing. So this is our vision. The vision of this seminar, of this project, inspire devotees to reach the Prabhupada's books globally by following the following steps. First, we want to present a proposal to the GBC to dedicate a week on ISKCON's calendar for reading the Prabhupada's books 1 week every year. And that week we will promote the reading all over the whole world. And devotees will make sure it happens in their communities. From reading, we form reading clubs. We want to form reading clubs, Sky reading groups, WhatsApp discussion groups, online reading groups. We want to form some groups. And all of us in this room should become agents. We should become coordinators. We should become facilitators so that this thing can happen. We also want to collaborate with other ministries, like Ministry of Congregational Development, Youth Ministries, Sannyas Ministry. We want to coordinate with those, collaborate with these ministries so that together we can promote this project. We're also thinking of giving some yearly awards in communities where more groups for reading Srila Prabhupada books are arranged and facilitated. We will give some awards, we will give some points, and then at the end of the year, we would like to give some awards. So temples, congregational groups, countries that they have more reading groups will be awarded some, recognized and awarded. So this way we can inspire devotees to read Srila Prabhupada's books. So this seminar, it was supposed to be the 13th, but somehow we had to change it. This is what we're supposed to do, brainstorm, enlist volunteers, form a team, and begin to spread this message across the world. In conclusion, I am stressing at this point that all my students shall be very much conversant with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and that they should read our books very diligently, at least 1 or 2 hours daily, and try to understand the subject matter from varieties of angles. This is a letter to Madhu Das, June 16, 1972. And I'll rest my case here. We're going to have a discussion after Prabhu has also done his presentation. We're going to have a discussion and then we will take it from there. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Srila Prabhu. With this, I'd like to express thank you to everyone who's come together today. I know there are so many other nicer things to do around this time in Srila Mayapur, as well as highlighted by Srila Prabhupada. Plenty of opportunities out there. And for you to have decided to come here and participate in this seminar, we owe you thank you for that. And I also like to thank Srila Prabhupada for setting in motion a very wonderful thought for today's discussion. Not only did he share with us the importance of reading Prabhupada's books, but he very systematically shared with us if we want to set a culture, there are certain steps before that. So we have this lofty goal of enhancing the culture. Some skeptics like me may often even challenge what culture we have today that we try to enhance, especially when it comes to reading Srila Prabhupada's books. But as Navina Prabhu highlighted, that before you set a culture, there are several steps. Now, the expectations that I have from the day to day are twofold. One is that we must all remain awake to the best of our ability. We finished our morning program, it's 12 o'clock. So one is that. Second is, we must try that whatever we are discussing today is applied at least at 2 levels. One is an individual level that 2 of the speakers have talked about. And the second is, we must also spend some time and energy to see, is there some way we can enhance it in the organization that we all are striving to serve, which is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. As Prabhupada defined the word, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, in order to establish that Krishna consciousness 24 hours, several tips were given in the morning. That we have to make sure that we don't drain unnecessary things into our heart, but rather our hearts are completely imbued by Krishna consciousness 24 hours. If our hearts are indeed imbued with Krishna consciousness 24 hours, then that can be shared. It can be shared with our own mind and heart. It can be shared with our family members. It can be shared with our community members. So I'm very hopeful that as the day progresses, we'll also spend some time and energy in finding out what can we do. There are about 25-30 of us in this room right now. But we are all coming from different communities and different parts of the world. I believe a lot of you will go back from Mayapur to wherever you're going. And I'm hopeful that we will accomplish something here that will set into motion some more activities, enhancing or supplementing what is already happening with respect to reading Srila Prabhupada's books. So, given that we already have enough motivation from the two speakers on reading Prabhupada's books, I won't be taking much of the time on this topic. It's almost a cliche within our society that books are the basis. I use the word cliche because we've repeated it so often that sometimes it misses the point. Skips. So I was thinking of doing some activities together with everyone on this positive note that has been already set by our previous speakers. And one activity which I felt would be very meaningful for us to gather your experience is to do, what I've done is I've kept some pads on each of the tables. They were for you to take notes, and I've also left some pens. Now is the time to open those pads if you haven't opened them already. And there are two things that I'd like you to at least identify on each of the tables that you're sitting on. So each table has certain participants, and the devotees at the back, they can divide themselves into two. And first I'd like you to capture what is it that has worked well for you, motivated you at an individual level or within the community that you are part of to read Prabhupada's books regularly. Is that clear? I'm just expecting you to jot down in brief, and in a very succinct way, points together that maybe either you can note down as a group on each table, or individually you can list down. But then I will take each table and we will hear from you what is it that is happening positively in your personal life or in the community that you're part of that has actually encouraged you to read Srila Prabhupada's books daily, on a regular basis. So that's question number one. And with my smile, you can almost guess what my question number two is going to be. My question number two for everyone is, but first we just focus on question. The question two I'll set up. Question number two is the reverse. Why, in your assessment, experience, and analysis, assessment, similar words, do you feel that it is not happening? Why, in your analysis, either at an individual level or at a community level, are you finding yourself in a situation where you are, or the members of the community are, not able to read Srila Prabhupada's books daily? There is a slight disclaimer I must make. Your reading is excluding the Bhagavatam class and the Bhagavad Gita class. So that was glorious, that must happen. Prabhupada wanted that to happen, but we are trying to capture it. What happens besides the Bhagavatam class and the Bhagavad Gita class that you attend every day, if you attend every day. So we're going to take about 10 minutes for you to write down individually and discuss with others on the table and come up with a list in a decreasing order of relevance priority that you would like to share with everyone. Is the exercise clear? Does anybody have any questions around it? Okay. It is expected to be done as a team on each table. So each of the tables I will request you to please do. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, absolutely. You can make a group in French and you can speak in French. I would request that one of them later on to translate for us. And then Prabhu, maybe you can join here, that group. We can do the same with the devotees who are Russian speaking. And then after that, one of the devotees can then translate that for others. So it's about 12:15. And 5 minutes from now, I'll sort of get the pulse of what's happening, and then 12:25 we'll start sharing. Speak to him. I received a request for a break. So Mataji here and many devotees would like to take a break also.
You notice maybe? Notice?
The pads, you didn't give them any pads. Right.
The pads are here. You will give the pads. In terms of break, I request that besides the 10 minutes for the discussion, we'll take another 10 minutes for break. Devotees who want to chant Gayatri or want to use the restroom. And we will only reconvene at 12:35. So 12:35. Hare Krishna, you can please also 10 minutes for discussion, 10 minutes also for break. So we will reconvene at 12:35. So you can discuss and then take a break for 10 minutes also. Hare Krishna. So I hope that you were able to take a break. You were able to take a break. If you still need a couple of minutes for the break, you can do that. But if you are working on what we asked you to do, then you can stop. Then you can pause. You have to now. So we are going to go around now and request devotees to share something with us. I have a request from you that when somebody is speaking, please hear what they share. This exercise is not meant for you to share or show how many points you have listed. That's not the purpose of the exercise. This is a collective exercise. If you hear what this table speaks, and if your point is sort of covered, you can just quickly mention, yes, some of these things are covered. This is what else we would like to share. And in order to give everybody a fair chance to share, I would request each table just says or shares 2 points. 2 points on why we are not able to individually or collectively read Prabhupada's books regularly. I was hoping that Shiraz would be here and would help to capture some of the points. May I request somebody to volunteer to do that? Would you be so kind to help us?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Okay, thanks. So, Prabhu, you have the toughest job, right? Because when devotees speak, you have to capture in a very short form, like typewriting short form, what is it that they're talking about. So we'll first go around, hear from everybody the difficulties, and then we'll go around again in the reverse order to hear why it should happen. So I will start from the first table. Let us try to make it. Would you need a mic or you have a first?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if the devotees they can hear you.
Yeah, so first,
I'm just kidding.
we're sharing like, why am I a failure to read Prabhupada's books on an individual level or collective level?
Any of these, you can just share 2 points. 2 points. You can be individual or collective, no problem.
Okay, so first point is like wasting a lot of time on internet, in social media, rather reading Prabhupada's books, and engaging in useless talks, prajalpa, finding faults of other devotees, spoiling the consciousness, and losing impetus to read Prabhupada's books.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prajalpa and internet. This sort of sounds similar to me. Nothing else you find in internet which is not Prajalpa.
Finding faults with other devotees.
Finding gossiping. Gossiping. Okay. Yes, please. Thank you for sharing.
So in the group, it was not to put priority on Srila Prabhupada books. Not to put priority on Srila Prabhupada books. And something that's similar, loss of relationship with Srila Prabhupada. Loss
Of relationship.
lack of relationship with Srila Prabhupada.
Lack of relationship with Srila Prabhupada.
Maybe similar. And
One more you like?
more laziness.
Laziness. Okay. Borrowing Navina Nirada Prabhu's phrase, thank you for your honesty. And then talk about laziness that we have.
Hare Krishna. So one of the two points for encouraging, which I got encouraged, is that when we associate with devotees,
Why are we not reading?
why are we not reading?
That's right. 2 points as to why we are not reading regularly.
We are not reading because we are not associating with people whose life is not open. Who are reading, who are regularly reading, who are regularly have made their life Bhagavatam. We are not associating with them. And even if we are associating with them, if we get a chance to associate with them, we don't hear from them. We have something else to ask them. We are wasting the time of sadhus.
So that's 1 point. What else, Prabhu?
There are 2 points here. That here, associating with them, associating with the people, and then hearing from them, and inquiring from them. So that helps, on a personal level, it helps to increase our faith in Srimad Bhagavatam and gives us taste in because if someone has taste, he can give us taste. If someone does not have taste, how can he give the taste?
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for sharing. Prabhu, I'm sorry. Would you like us to come back to you once you've written it down? Prabhu? Okay. Thank you. Spashika.
Hare Krishna. Понимание важности чтения.
Not appreciating the importance of reading.
Обусловленность дураками. То есть кто-то медлительный, кто-то наоборот, более страсти, будет отличаться от
Nature of a person, how we are constricted by our guna and karma.
Can you repeat again one more time a bit loudly in the mic, not the nature of?
Nature of a person which constricts us because of our guna and karma.
So in some cases it may not have become a practice or a habit. Yes?
What he means by this, that somebody is very busy. He runs around and does a lot of things, but
Okay.
he does not have time for this. Or somebody is very slow and lazy, and then he doesn't make it a priority. So they are kind of constricted by their guna and karma from the beginning.
Understood. Thank you so much.
Yeah, there is no systematic cultivation. There is no systematic cultivation in our yatra of importance of reading daily. No systemic cultivation. cultivation, no systematic cultivation.
Any other point?
Есть еще один? No, everything else already was.
Thank you.
Sometimes we are tired or so maybe someone say that then we don't have time to read.
Anything else from the group?
In the temple, many times the mentors and leaders they cannot inspire devotees to give lectures. If someone has the possibility to give lecture or share the knowledge, he is forced by intelligence, motivated. So it's the point of finding good motivation for devotees and the community.
Lack of inspiration. Thank you.
Just to add to that, offenses which lead to losing taste for reading.